Hey
Cool.
everyone, I'm Summer, and welcome back to my channel where we talk about business growth, leadership, productivity, building companies that support your life instead of consuming your life. This is a part of my Teach Me Something playlist. These are conversations that I have with experts who help us think differently about business and uncover the blind spots that we might have that are keeping us stuck. And today's conversation is for business owners who have reached that point where working harder is not necessarily producing better results. We're talking about growth, leadership, scalability, and how to build a business that creates freedom instead of being dependent on it. My
hmm
guest today is the handsome Ivan Vickers. He is a strategic business advisor with more than 20 years of experience helping owner led businesses achieve sustainable growth and stronger profitability. Ivan specializes in working with small to medium enterprises to identify growth barriers, to strengthen operations, performance, and reduce founder dependency. Ivan, welcome to my show.
That's wonderful, Summer, and thank you for the wonderful introduction.
Of
I,
course,
I
of
look
course.
forward to our time together here.
It's always fun to introduce somebody that you already know and like. So
Thank you.
let's start with somebody that many business owners experience, but some of us can't explain this. A business might be generating a lot of revenue, the team might be busy, and all things appear successful on the surface. Yet growth seems to stall, like we hit a ceiling. So, what are
hmm
some of the hidden factors that stops small and medium enterprises from scaling profitably, in your opinion?
Well, I've been doing this for a long time, and I've dealt with all types of business, whether they be retail ones, B2B, B2C, oh, just whether they're construction or widgets, it really doesn't matter. The principle's always the same. And what
Mm,
I found is that the business typically grows to the expertise or the knowledge of the business owner.
mhm,
And if, as a principle, I always say, I ask people, where do you want to see your business in the future? And they give me some kind of story, and that's wonderful. And they call them goals.
mm,
But it's very difficult to get a bank loan for
mm.
goals.
For goals, yes.
So what you need is outcomes. So when you
Mm,
change it in your head, and the business owner started makes this change from chasing goals to achieving outcomes. Now, some
mm,
people may argue that's semantics, Ivan, but the difference is goals, you are always looking uphill to the goal. Whereas if you're looking at the outcome, you are already here and you're looking back
mm.
and you see what you need to do to get there. So fundamental difference in
Wow.
approach. Okay. Now, I wrote a book around this particular thing because I see so many gurus pointing, oh, you need goals and goal setting and leadership and all of these things. Well, that's all wonderful and that's great.
Mm,
There's nothing wrong with that stuff.
mm,
But if you're not in the right place and you can't see it,
mm,
there is no way you're going to be able to lead or pull your business to get there.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm,
Because leadership, I saw a lovely picture the other day and it was um, a hen with chicks and a duck with ducklings. And the hen would actually let the chicks run in front of it,
mhm,
whereas the duck leads and the
mm.
ducklings follow. So those
Yes.
those depicted for me two very different leadership styles. Okay. And our
Mm.
challenge as business owners is actually to figure out which one is required at what time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And what we find is that, even if a business is making money, the staff are happy and everything else, and the business owner has plateaued in their head.
Mm,
In other
mm,
words, they they just keep bumping against this ceiling because they
mm.
haven't themselves grown. Because it's like a thermostat. You
Yeah.
set the thermostat to a temperature and the heating all the way to get there, and then it kind of backs off. And yeah, and we as people do exactly the same.
Mm. The hen and the duck, oh my goodness, I never thought of it that way. The hen, I think, likes to watch the back of her chicks, and the duck goes forward and leads the way. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they're two different leaderships. I never thought of it
Yeah,
that way.
yeah.
And
Well, like
many
they say,
people,
yeah, they say a picture's worth a thousand words. And when I saw that, I
mm,
was like, wow.
you connected that and without words.
Mm,
See, that is brilliant. And we assume that growth problems are mostly financial because I don't have enough money to put into my business to grow. But more
hmm
often than not, I feel they are operational, sometimes behavioral, So
Mm-hmm.
one challenge I see all the time is business owners or founders becoming the bottleneck in their own business. This is a conversation I've been having with my team members and my mentors. You guys, I'm becoming the bottleneck. What should I do? So
Mm-hmm.
we start the company. Let's say me, I started a company. I know everything, right? And eventually, everything depends on me. So,
Yeah.
how can business owners like me continue growing the business without becoming trapped inside the business?
That's that's a really good observation and also a good question, really, is how do you stop it? So depending on where a business is at a point in time, right, will determine which part of the business you need to kind of delegate. Okay.
Mm,
So
mm,
so sometimes delegation for many business owners means letting go of control.
mm,
Well, yes and no.
mm,
If you're going to let go of control or you're going
mm,
to give, so there's control and responsibility, and sometimes people conflate the two.
mm,
So delegation and giving somebody the responsibility of, let's
mm,
say, doing the marketing or let's say making the widget or delivering the service, right? They have a responsibility. So there needs to be some kind of standard operating procedure. There needs to be this is what good looks like. This is what
mm,
perfect looks like.
mm.
Um, and as a business owner, the best thing you can do is hire somebody better equipped than you. And
Correct.
that's
Yes.
scary for a lot of people because they go, oh God, they're going to come in.
I'm giving up my control.
Yeah, and they're going to take control from me. And you go,
Mm,
no,
mm,
if you do it correctly, you're not giving up control. What you're doing is you are empowering two very
mm,
different things. So if
mm,
you empower the person that you brought in and you have structures within the business to keep control.
mm,
Um, you drive a car and you don't have control over every system in the car. Some of the systems run by themselves and are led by another system,
mm,
right?
mhm,
Um, but you know that if you need it, you still have
mm,
the control to push the brake, even though the system
mhm,
might not be used at that point, or the
mm,
heating system might not be used because it's the middle of summer, right?
mm, mm, mm.
All these things, they come into play. So as a business owner, you need to figure out which part of the business is going to be more beneficial for you as a person, i.e., releasing your time, getting rid of some of the pressures or the weight that you feel. And
Mm,
all business owners, when you first meet them, you ask them how things going. They go, great.
mm,
And you
mm.
say, how's it really going? And they go, well, it actually could be a little bit better. And then you ask
Yeah.
again, and you say, so if you could wave a magic wand and fix one or two things in your business, what would you do? And they normally will tell you one or two things. And you go, those are the things that keep them up at night, right?
Mhm,
So the question is always, how do you fix it? Okay.
mhm,
And what people do is they chase perfection.
mm,
And there's the problem. So in order to perfect something, you have to have finished something. In order to have finished something, you have to have started. So just bloody well start, keep going, and it do iterations as you go
yeah.
along,
Mm,
because you will never be perfect, ever.
correct.
Newsflash, right?
Correct. Mm,
So what we need to do in our business, and we look at a business in general, and all businesses are the same. You have to find people with a need for what you want to do. That's called
mhm,
sales and
mhm,
marketing, yeah, or technical term, business development. And then on the other side, you have the operational side of the business, which is delivering whatever you're selling, making sure people are happy, client follow up, all that kind of stuff. And then you have the oil, which is making sure that the team are happy, that the cash is
mm,
flowing, that the
mm,
systems are all talking to each other. And
mm,
invariably, what I find, and I go back to a seminal piece of work by Michael Gerber,
mhm,
and who wrote a book called The E-Myth,
mhm,
Revisited.
mhm,
And it's normally sales and marketing is where the issue is,
mhm,
or in the making of the widget. So they either have a brilliant widget, nobody knows.
mm.
Uh,
But still being dependent on the founder. Founder
correct.
dependency piece for me is huge. And
Oh, it's huge.
often a lot of businesses mirror the leadership style of the owner,
Oh, totally, totally. And
right?
that's not always a good thing, yeah?
That's never a good thing, I think, unless
Yeah,
the leader is like Steve Jobs or somebody in a really big, admirable position. But
correct.
from your experience, what leadership patterns most commonly limit growth, even when the owner might have good intentions?
I think becoming a control freak can be a big problem. Um,
Okay.
Not that any of us have ever done that, right?
No, never, ever.
um, yeah, one is over controlling,
Mm,
and the other one is strangely enough in the empowerment. So we live in a world today where we can delegate, whether we hire to delegate to or we outsource.
mm,
It all depends on which part of the business we're talking about. But
mm,
again, we come back to this thing where um, we are outsourcing or we are delegating tasks based
mm,
on our knowledge as the owner of
mm,
that thing at that point in time.
mm,
Now, if you hire somebody better than you, they're going to
mm.
stretch you a little bit. They're going to challenge
Yes.
your boundaries.
Challenge me. Yes.
And
Mm,
there we sit with a fundamental problem. And this comes back to mission, vision, getting tongue-tied. Mission, vision, and values,
mm,
right? And the mission may change a little bit, probably not a lot, yeah. The
mm.
values should never change.
Should never change. Yes.
Should never change.
Mm,
You know, I looked at this when I wrote this book, and the reason I wrote it is because I see too many business partners or founders
mm,
flounder. They flounder because they go, oh, I'll deal with that tomorrow. So they have no structure or process to deal with the issues.
mm,
So if you as a founder, or if you sat there and said, okay, if I just divided my business into those three things that I mentioned, sales and marketing,
mm,
operational delivery, and the oil that makes it all work. And
mm,
you sat there and you said, okay, in my week, how much time do I
mm,
spend doing this? How much
mm,
time do I spend doing this? And how much time do I spend doing this? You'll be quite surprised, right?
mm, mm,
And then measure yourself against that. Then take another thing that you can do as a business owner is say, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 is this is awesome. I'd love to do this all the time.
mm,
1, I can't wait to let this go, right?
mm, mm,
Figure out the tasks and the processes in each and just rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. And that'll tell you very quickly where you need to let go
mm.
and ask yourself, what is it that you don't like about it? And you don't hire somebody that has the same thinking as you. You hire somebody that likes that
With a
kind of thing.
different mindset. Yes.
Mm.
Yes. Ivan, I meet you in my speed networking, and sometimes I've heard you say that you help business owners create alignment between strategy, operations, and leadership, correct?
Correct, yes.
So when a business is struggling, how can the owner tell the difference between it being a strategy problem or an execution problem?
That's a multifaceted humdinger of a question there, Summer. It's tricky,
Mm,
but in my experience, 9 out of 10 times it'll be the problem is a symptom of something else.
yeah.
And and 9 out of 10 times it'll normally come back to being magnified because of cash flow. Okay, so
Mhm,
money.
mhm,
Okay, which
mm,
means basically the acquisition of new business. Okay.
mm, mm,
Now we always sit with this tension between existing business and new business.
mm,
Existing business, you can always squeeze the sponge a little bit and find some new things to sell to people that already know you.
mm,
Then there's going to find the new customer, which actually costs a lot of money. You'll kiss some frogs and to find the princess, right? Or the prince. So you got to have both strategies. And what happens is most people will go to the other side and they'll start cutting costs rather than in focused investment of time and effort and expertise and skill here at generating business. And if you are generating the business, right, that two measures for me that are kind of go hand in glove with this particular issue. Because
mhm,
if you can fix the income portion, then you can deal with all the other things because you're
mm,
feeding yourself, right?
mhm, mhm,
And if you're feeding yourself, then you can deal with, well, actually, we need to fix our production side or our service delivery side. We need to become more robust, efficient, whatever it is. But it's
mhm.
about this acquisition of customers.
Yeah.
And a lot of people chase shiny toys. Stop. Word of mouth's great. I mean, we could get involved in a discussion around marketing and what people can actually do. But
Mm,
all you need to do is say, is what I am doing now generating new customers? If the answer to that question is no, it's a very simple test, then something needs to change in how you're doing this.
Yeah.
or or the people I'm doing it to needs to change. So it's always
Mm,
one of those two, right? It's
mhm,
not
mhm,
difficult. And the other
mm,
one is spaced repetition. And people tiptoe around this one, you know. So if I go back to the proponents of advertising and marketing, the likes of David Ogilvy, who gave marketing its name, you know, um, spaced repetition is just
mm,
about telling people the same thing over and over
mhm,
and over again.
mm,
So for most people in the world, their maths, if we use maths as an example, their times tables. Most people's times tables, I could say to you, okay, so what 10 times 10, you'll go 100.
100.
Yeah, you just know that, right?
Mm, mhm,
You know that you know. If I say
mhm.
9 times 9, you go what?
81.
81. You don't even blink, right?
Mhm.
You just know. So how did you get there? You did it
That's been a
from,
lot of practice, yes.
yeah, so spaced repetition. So you just
Mm,
know, right? And you need to get your marketing to that point. And if you keep
mm,
changing your message, people go, oh, but it used to be this, now it's this, now it's that,
mhm,
right?
mm,
Which
mm.
which flies in the face of some of the um, what people are saying out there, right? Yeah, you've got to have content. Well, yes and no, right? But spaced
Correct.
repetition. And then you find that most people that you speak to, all their world is defined 12 by 12. Why? Because that's what we were taught. So don't change the rules. Stick with the rules.
Oh my God. Yeah. That one distinction alone can save people years of frustration. And one thing that I'm right away taking away from you here is spaced repetition.
Hmm.
An aha went into my head like,
Yeah,
okay. So this is
yeah.
my main lesson here. But one thing that stands out in your work is you emphasize on building businesses with lasting value. So, what are the characteristics of a business that are like truly resilient, that can continue thriving even when there's economic uncertainty or markets keep shifting or leadership changes?
Oh, that's a multifaceted diamond question, right? Because there's
That's
so
what I
many
did out,
things.
right?
But I think, for my view, there's a few things. One, you need a war chest or a piggy bank, right? So
Mm,
try not to create too much debt. In fact,
mm,
the less debt you have, the better. You know, there are proponents that are saying, well, use debt to grow. Well, yes and no.
yeah.
As long as you can service the debt, everything works until you have a black swan event like we had in 2007, 8, and
Mm,
then all
mm,
of a sudden everything comes and crumbles, right?
yeah, yeah.
And all they did in 2007, 8, rather than write debt off, what they did is just refinanced it. So the bubble went from this big to this
To
big.
a bigger one, yeah.
So we won't go down that rabbit hole. So
Mm,
number one, build a piggy bank to tide you through some of the times.
mhm,
Two is make sure that your your business acquisition, in other words, how you find your customers,
mm,
you have a bread and butter,
mhm,
and you have a premium, and you have your day-to-day stuff. Yeah,
mm,
in terms of offering or pricing or whatever it is.
mm,
And what happens is try to productize yourself. Yeah, and it's difficult in the project-based businesses to do that,
mm,
but it's not impossible.
mm,
You just need to think a little bit differently. And as a
mhm,
business owner, when you hit these tough times,
mm,
a lot of people do the rabbit in the headlights, like, oh, the world's going to fall on my head, right? Okay, that's fine. Take a deep breath and say, okay, so what am I going to do now? And then think it through, and then go and do it.
mm.
You know, it's like people go, you know, New Year's resolutions. Oh, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get fit. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do, yeah.
Been there,
Um,
done that, yeah.
Yeah, we none of us have ever not succeeded, right? You know, until the 31st of January, yeah. And then we go, well, sod it, you know, I'm gonna have a beer. Yeah. And so what we need to do is we need to be disciplined.
Mm,
So once we see an event and we can see it coming, don't put your head in the sand. Yeah, because then you're in trouble. And the
yeah,
big thing for
yes.
me is just don't panic. Just think
Mm,
it through and go,
mm,
okay, what can I do?
mm,
And I think on a point here, something I'd just feel that I think I should mention, because we do live in strange times where things move real quick sometimes, is whenever crisis hits, don't panic. Take a deep breath, draw a chart and say, what is the worst case scenario here? And just write a few things down. And then, so the worst case scenario in business is cash flow dries up. You have mutiny on the Bounty. Yeah. They put you in a little boat and your business sinks. Okay. And you're bankrupt. Okay, cool. That's the worst case scenario. Cross it out and say, okay, now what am I going to do? Because now you've looked the devil in his eye and said, no, I'm not going here. Now what am I going to do? And now focus on the doing, on not on this thing, but on this. And you find you succeed. I've brought many a company through very tough times.
Wow. You've highlighted a lot of things that many business owners need to hear. Because I find a lot of people say growth means selling more. And my point is growth means building stronger systems, stronger leadership, businesses that don't rely on one person carrying everything on their shoulder. Until very recently, mine was that case. If I walk out of my business for a few days, there is no business. It all depends on me. So now that I have a team, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, because you've managed to delegate. You know, if you leave your business for a few days, I mean, the goal in my world is always to get the business owner to the point where they can take 6 months off and the business still runs. So the plan is to work them out of the business, and then if they choose to come back in, it is the business owner's choice. It's not necessity. And unfortunately, a lot of people think they're successful when they're out the business, and then crisis hits, then they have to come back in and go, oh God, I have to go back now because I have to fix the thing. Yeah.
But what happens when you're a consultant? It is still mostly dependent on you.
Yes, but remember what I said about creating a bread and butter something. So like an online course or a I don't know, a book or a mastermind or a networking thing like you do. You know, it as long as it makes some money that'll keep your nose above water as an independent, that's okay. Because now you have this thing happening. Yeah. Now you can scale it, of course, over time, but it doesn't detract from your. Most people are consultants because they wonder why. What's their reason for being a consultant? Well, their drivers are a lot of things outside of just their expertise and knowledge. They want to be in control of their time. They want to travel the world. They want to do it varies from person to person. But having said that, they still need this Rolls-Royce offer. They need a kind of
offer.
Yeah, just a nice cut down flavor of the one above, and then they need this bread and butter, this jam, this day-to-day, just enough to keep you above water. And if you have that, then you can scale. You know, because as I said initially, you know, I worked with a number of universities doing startups, and I was a tutor for Goldman Sachs for a little while with a university here in Birmingham in the UK. And what I found was the same thing again and again. So people develop a product and then they want to scale straight away. Doesn't work like that. You develop the product, you sell one, you then sell two, you then sell four, you then sell eight,
and then get reviews.
Yeah, and then you start thinking about scaling. So it's always you have to get, and as a business, you know, if you're small or you're a startup business, you go through various phases. So you have to proof of concept. You then get into am I surviving? So you go to survive, right? Which is kind of I can feed myself, yay. And I can feed those that I've taken on board, yay. And then only then do you get into scale.
Scaling.
And people try to skip that step.
That's brilliant advice. Business owners, small business and medium enterprise owners, this is something that you really need to listen. If this resonated with you, go connect with Ivan, explore his work. He helps SMEs create sustainable growth and long-term value. His links are going to be right below. Ivan, what's the best place for people to find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. Just search for Ivan Vickers, and I'm in the UK. Or you can go to my website, which is ivanvickers.com.
And you don't have to type that out. It's right there in the description. Just click it. And if you're enjoying these Teach Me Something conversations, make sure you like and subscribe and share this with a business owner who's ready to grow smarter. And Ivan, thank you so much. This episode has been brilliant. Lots to teach me personally.
Oh,
Thank you
no,
for being here.
thank you very much for the opportunity. And I think what you are doing is absolutely called for in this world, because people are drowning with knowledge, but they're not
Mm,
finding wisdom. And what
mhm.
you're doing here is about bringing wisdom to the market.
That was my hope for doing this. So
Awesome.
thank you very much for being here. You guys, I'll see you in my next one.